Gopiyana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopiyana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajanaram Jana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaram Jana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Radha Kunja Vihari ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrayakacharya Stotara Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Aisi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrayakacharya Stotara Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskrityam Narom Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Atoyayam Udhiraye. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 23. Text is 42, or 43, sorry. That's not the text. Yeah, because yesterday we read Kim Dura Padanam Tesam Punsham Udama Chetasam. So now comes Preksha Yitva Bhuto Golam. Patyai Yavam Swa Samstayaha. Yes, 43. Yeah, that one. Thank you so much. Prekshayitva bhuvo golam patnyai javam swasamstaya bahuvasyadyam mahayogi swasramaya nyavartata. Prekshayitva bhuvo golam patnyai javam swasamstaya Bahuvascharya Mahayogi Swasramaya Nyavartata. Prekshayitva Bhuvo Golam Patnyai Javam Swasamstaya Bahuvascharya Mahayogi Swasramaya Nyavartata. Bahuvacharyan Mahayogi Nyavartata. Bahuvacharya Mahayogi Swasramaya Nyavartata. Prekshayitva bhuvo golam patnyayavam swasamstaya bahuvascharyam mahayogi swasamraya nyavartata. Prekshayitva bhuvo golam padnyayavam swasamstaya bahuvascharyam mahayogi swasramaya nyavartata. Vaishnavis. Prekshayitva bhuvo golam Mahayogi Swasramaya Nyavartata. Prekshayitva, after showing Bhuvaha of the universe, Golam, the globe, Patnyai, to his wife, Yavan, as much, Swasamstaya, with his arrangements, Bahu Ascharyam, full of many wonders, Mahayogi, the great yogi Kardama, Swa Ashramaya, to his own hermitage, Nyavartata, returned. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. After showing his wife the globe of the universe and its different arrangements, full of many wonders, the great yogi Kardama Muni returned to his own hermitage. Purport. All the planets are here described as Gola, round. Every planet is round, and each planet is a different shelter, just like islands in the great ocean. Planets are sometimes called Dvipa or Varsha. This earth planet is called Bharata Varsha because it was ruled by King Bharata. Other significant word is used in this verse. Is Vahu Ascharyam, many wonderful things. This indicates that the different planets are distributed all over the universe in the 8 directions, and each and every one of them is wonderful in itself. Each planet has its particular climatic influences and a particular types of inhabitants, and is completely equipped with everything, including the beauty of the seasons. In the Brahma Samhita, it is similarly stated, Vibhuti Bhinnam. On each and every planet there are different opulences. It cannot be expected that one planet is exactly like another. By God's grace, by nature's law, each and every planet is made differently and has different wonderful features. All such wonders were personally experienced by Kardama Muni while he traveled with his wife. Yet he could return again to his humble hermitage. He showed his princess wife that although he was living in a hermitage, he had the power to go everywhere and do anything by his mystic yoga. That is the perfection of yoga. One cannot become a perfect yogi simply by showing some sitting posture, nor by such sitting posture or so-called meditation can one become God, as is being advertised. Foolish persons is misled into believing that simply by some caricature of meditation and sitting posture, one can become God within 6 months. Here is the example of a perfect yogi. He could travel all over the universe. Similarly, there is a description of Durvasa Muni, who was also a traveler in space. Actually, the perfect yogi can do that. But even if one can travel all over the universe and show wonderful feats like Kardama Muni, he cannot be compared to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose power and inconceivable energy can never be attained by any conditioned or liberated soul. By the actions of Kardama Muni, we can understand that in spite of his immense mystic power, he remained a devotee of the Lord. That is the real position of every living entity. Om Ajnanathimiram Dasya Jnanangana Shalakaya Shakshurun Militam Gena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Gena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadam Tika He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishavanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vamcha Kalpataru Vyascha Kripa Sindupya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vasamyaham jatrayano vimugdo mugdairmatai lokani haivaduke. Kripa maye tvad karunena radhe sandarsayisyami anayatatvam. Prakshayitva bhuvogolam patnya yavan swasamstaya bahu asharjam mahayogi swasramaya nyavartata. After showing his wife the globe of the universe and his different arrangements full of many wonders, the great yogi Kardama Muni returned to his own hermitage. Welcome to Srimad Bhagavatam class. I was just remembering this, thinking last night, wow, how fortunate we are. Like every morning we're like bathing ourselves in the, the shower of nectar emanating from Srimad Bhagavatam. It's amazing how Srila Prabhupada, so wonderfully put together everything and make such wonderful commentaries. Because this morning I was talking to somebody, a friend that called me from Europe, and he was reading something about, last week he was reading something about Narad Muni. He's not a devotee, but he's into spirituality, and he's been reading some books here and there. And I just gave him a Prabhupada book, and he started reading it, and then right away he sent me a text, and he said, wow, I've been reading this book for like 5 minutes, and many of my illusions and ignorances are being dispelled. And I was just like, thought, wow, Prabhupada is such a great personality that he has come really to deliver us. So we definitely should take shelter, on Bhagavatam again and again, punaha, all the time, serving Srimad Bhagavatam to the best of our capacity. So in this verse, there is a description of Bhagavatam is showing that the universe is Bahua Sharjam. It has so many wonders, which means that there are so many planets in it, just like Prabhupada quote this verse from the Brahma Samhita, and then he mentioned the word Vibhuti Binnam Yasyaf Prabhavato Yagadam Dakoti Kotishu Ashesha Bahudadi Vibhuti Binnam Tad Brahma Nishkalang Anantang Ashesha Bhutam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bayami. And in this verse, Lord Brahma is saying that there are so many universes resting on the effulgence of the Lord. And within each and every of these universes, there are so many planets. There's innumerable planets. And within each and every planet, there are varieties of Bahua Sharjam. There are so many wonders in each and every planet. So many living entities with different bodies, with different capacities, with different levels of consciousness, different also goals of life. Somebody who's in a lower position, like an animal, he just think in terms of sleeping, eating, defending, and mating. Somebody who's more elevated, he may think of even liberation or trying to solve the problems of life. So even in this very planet, we see that there is varieties. If somebody goes to another country, just like, for example, let's say in South America, we all speak Spanish, but our Spanish is different. You go to, let's say, Mexico, but the Spanish is completely different. Not completely different, but it's different than Spanish that somebody may speak in Colombia or any other place. So there is variety. And as Prabhupada used to say, variety is the mother of enjoyment. That there should be variety. But unfortunately, materialistic people nowadays, or especially so-called scientists, they try to see or try to understand the universe in terms of their own capacity, their imperfect mind and senses. That's why they want to see. That's how they want to see this world and the universe. So the result is that they don't see anything, because one cannot approach, especially upper planetary systems, what to speak of spiritual world, by dint of material arrangements. Just like I think it was somebody was saying the other day, putting the example of Ravana, how he wanted to build a staircase to go to the heavenly planets. But that's not the way. neither by mental speculation. What is that verse in Brahma Samhita? Vayora tapi manayo munipungavana. Pantastakoti satava. What is that? Vayora tapi manaso munipungavana. Even if one is, mounting the chariot of his mind and he's traveling all over the universe, he cannot understand. He may go on and on and on and on, thinking and speculating, but he cannot reach the ultimate, the spiritual, the end of the universe. So also Lord Brahma says in Bhagavatam, in his prayers, Atapi te deha payam dvaya swaya prasada lesanu grihita evahi janati tattvam bhagavan mahimno nacham yameko pi chiran vishimna. That same thing, that the only way to understand the glories of the Lord, which include the creation of the material world, because this is not separate from the Lord. Sometimes, we have this, even as devotees, I've seen it all the time, that even as devotees, we think that everything that is related with the spiritual world, like the Rasa Leela and Krishna playing with the cowboys and his passions with Mother Yashoda, that belongs to God, but everything is in relation with the material world. This is Maya. We think like that. But Maya also, external energy, is Krishna's energy. Daivi hiesha gunamai mama maya duratyaya. So one should not think that, okay, well, these, planetary systems are, some sage traveling all over these planets with his wife and doing all this mystic thing. This has nothing to do with Krishna. No, it has to do. This is in Bhagavatam. It appears in Bhagavatam to show Bahu Acharyam, the many wonders and opulences that the Lord can display. So Brahma says in this verse, Tapi te deva padam dvaya tvaya prasada lesanu grihita evahi. Unless one receive a particle of my mercy, he cannot understand the glories of the Lord. So this means that he can even understand the glories of the many wonders of the material world. One have to accept, first of all, one have to accept the authority of the Lord. And then, if he's fortunate enough, then he may receive that mercy, and then he may be able to understand. Just like somebody else was telling me, because, when you, when we're trying to preach to people, especially those who are influenced by the Mayavada philosophy, they are very unfortunate people, actually. They suffer like anything because of not accepting the Supreme Lord and the glories of the Lord, the passions, His qualities, etc. And so I was trying to preach to this personality, and then he was saying that why everything in the Vedas is so, there's so many word games. And I said, no, this is not word games. This is as it is. One have to accept the authority of the Vedas. It is said that, because he was telling me that there is a passage when he read that Lord Narayan was talking to a certain sage, and then the sage did some service to him, and then the Lord was very pleased, and then he said, well, at the end of his life, he will come back to the spiritual world. So that's what he told me, and he said, well, it is what it is. There is a spiritual world, there is a personality in the spiritual world, Narayana, and we're also part and parcel of that Narayana. And then he said, well, but what is that? You're telling me that after that we merge into that Narayana. He said, no, we don't merge into that Narayana. We're separate living entities. Somebody goes to the spiritual world, and then he serves and he engages in spiritual activities for the pleasure of that Narayana. That constitutes the perfection of life. So I was trying to explain these things, but they cannot understand, which means that they haven't received the mercy of the Lord to really understand or have a hint of what it says in the Vedic literature regarding all the tattvas of this world and beyond. So then it's also said in the purport that Kardama, and we were discussing this yesterday very nicely, that Kardama was a perfect yogi, that he could travel the whole world and the whole universe, and interestingly, he was doing it on his will, on his own will. It's not that he was kind of like the karmis or the perfect karmis that perform so many austerities and ritualistic work to go to the heaven. But then, what is that? Chine punya martia vishanti. They when the pious credit is exalted, they have to come down. No, Kardama Muni was on his own will. He returned when he felt it was the time to come back. And so he was a perfect of all mystic. But Prabhupada says at the end of the purport, the most important thing, that he said that by the actions of Kardama Muni, we can understand that in spite of his immense mystic power, he remained a devotee of the Lord. Yoginam api sarvisam. This is a real yogi. We've been discussing for many days about like yoga or jnani or this or that. But real yogi means this, that he remained a devotee of the Lord. And then he also mentioned Durvasa Muni, that so many mystic powers he had. He could travel all over the universe. But when he fell in danger, when he had a great danger in his life, he ran to the spiritual world and he submitted to the Supreme Lord. And even the Lord said, my dear Durvasa, now you're in great trouble, because you have offended a devotee. So you have to calm down and surrender to the lotus feet of that personality, Ambarish Maharaj, and you will ask for forgiveness. So the Lord is showing two things. That one is that committing Vaishnava Aparad is a very dangerous thing. One can have a chakra permanently on his neck by committing Vaishnava Aparad. And secondly is that bhakti is superior to any other process. It's not that any other process, by doing this or that, you get some bhakti. No, bhakti is completely independent. It's not by doing some yoga or by doing some knowledge. One get bhakti. We were discussing yesterday that with Ganganath Prabhu, and there is a nice explanation of this in the beginning of Madhurya Kalambini, but I'm not going to go into that because there's no time for that. But that is the conclusion of all the instructions, that bhaktya man avijanati. Unless one practices process, one engages in the process of bhakti yoga, he cannot understand the Lord. There is no other way. There is no mystic. The Lord doesn't say siddhi yoga man avijanati. He doesn't say that. Or jnana man avijanati. Or karma man avijanati. He doesn't say any of this. He says bhaktya. One engages in bhakti yoga and everything else becomes revealed to that personality. I was saying the other day in the last class, that I was mentioning how in our country, in Cuba, they practice all these mystic things. By the way, Krishna Prabhu, I owe you a story. Today I'll do it, okay? I owe you that. Please forgive me. So I was mentioning how we have all these like mystic personalities, and I experienced this many times, that they have mystic powers. They can fulfill all the desires they had, or they can read someone's mind. I experienced this many times, and they have also so many other powers that they can harm of all the living entities. Remember the video I showed you last year, huh? It was heavy. So they have this kind of powers. I experienced it many times, even in my own family, because many of them, they're like priests, or they're very, my family guru is a very powerful personality. He can practically achieve whatever he wants, or whatever desire he has. He has mystic power. He has this little chain with shells and some stones. And he does his thing, because I've seen it many times. And he tells me, no, this is going to happen to you, and then it happens. But they cannot solve the real problems of life. Janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi. They cannot. And all the byproducts of all these problems. Because when some heavy danger comes to their life, I've experienced this many times. Then my mother is calling me, or my father, hey son, there is this problem in life. Somebody, your uncle is dying, or somebody else is, having this problem, or your cousin is going to go to jail, or this or that. Please go and talk to your Lord. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna. Atraparto Danudaraha. He's a real yogi. He's a real mystic yogi. He can solve all the problems. It's not like you do some jugglery, or you learn how to put your feet behind your neck and sitting for 2 hours and doing that practice for 6 months, and then you like become like very powerful. You can surpass all the problems of the world. They call me. This is true story. They call me. Hey son, yes, my mom is very fond of His Holiness Radhanath Swami. So I told her that Maharaj was here, and I sent her a picture. That was on Mother's Day. And then he said, please ask him for some blessings because somebody else in your family, such and such person, now he's drowning, And he said, Mom, I'm not gonna like disturb such a personality. You can continue doing your own thing, and then let's see if that can help you, And then that shows the power and magnificence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How He attaining the Supreme, the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. That is the greatest perfection that one can achieve in life. We were discussing Devavrata and I in the last few days. And he's becoming intoxicated singing his prayers of Vritrasura. He sings it day and night. And I was remembering this morning, and how Vritrasura, which is a very powerful personality, a great demon who has, he's a great devotee, but he's acting as a demon. And he has achieved everything. He's like, basically he can defeat all the demigods, and he can control over the world. We're tiny demons. That's our position. We're very tiny demons. But Vritrasura, the very name Vritra, means one who can cover everything. So Vritrasura, he could cover the entire universe, and he was very powerful. But at the time of death, he was beautifully singing that, Nana kaprishtam nachaparamestiam nasarva bauma narasadipatya na yoga siddhira punarva samanya satwa viraha yakangshe. He said, Nana kaprishtam nachaparamestiam. I don't want to go to Dhruvalok, the pole star, or Nachaparamestiam. I don't want to go to Lord Brahma's place. What am I going to do there in Lord Brahma's place? Like sitting and reading the Vedas and so many ritualistic activities. What nonsense is that? Or what is that? Nanaka Prishtam, Nachaparamestiam, Nasarvavauma. I don't want to become a king. I don't want to become Joe Biden or Vladimir Putin or this guy or that guy. No. Or Narasadipatya, even the kings in the lower planetary systems. And na yoga siddhir apunam. I don't want this mystic thing. I don't want to read the mind of anyone. What I'm going to gain with that? I don't want to be even liberated. So, samanya sattva virahaya kanshe. If I have to give up my Lord, your lotus feet. So this is the conclusion. And then the Lord may ask, okay, you don't want any of those things, but what do you want? You may have a desire, isn't it? You cannot be desireless. And then Aham haretava padaikamulam dasanudaso bhavitashmi bhuyaha manasmareta supater gunamste grinitavat karma karotu kaya. This is what I want. Aham haretava padaikamulam dasanudasa bhavitashmi bhuyaha. I want my Lord to become the servant of your servant and engage in your devotional service. Let my mind, manas maretasu pater gunam, say, let my mind be absorbed in your glorious pastimes. Angrinita vat karma karotu kaya. Let my words and my body be always engaged. My words glorifying your qualities, my Lord, and my body engaged in the service of such a wonderful Vaishnavas. This is what I want. I don't want this mystic thing or like reading the mind, throwing some chain. I do not want that. So when I came to Krishna consciousness, I have said this quite a few things. Before meeting personally or physically devotees, I came in touch with Srimad Bhagavatam. I read Bhagavatam, before meeting the devotees, from cover to cover, from Janmadhyasya Jataha until Nama Sankirtanam Jasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam. And I remember that I would be reading day and night, like a lot of time, because I really liked it. It was very, that's what I needed in those days, because I was suffering like anything, and I was getting answers from those, from the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. And I remember one particular thing that, because I completely neglected our family traditions and religions and so on. And I remember one day my father called me and he was very angry. He was very upset. And then he was telling me so many things, because now you have rejected your guru, then so many calamities are going to come to you, and this and that, and you will suffer like anything, and this is going to happen to you, and that is going to happen to you, and this is going to happen to you, and you will be drowning and you will suffering like that. And then he said something that I'll never forget. He said, you will even, because they're very, very materialistic people, always thinking of how to fill their belly. And then he said, you will not even find food. You will die, you will starve because of completely neglecting your guru. So some time happened a few years later, and I will remember one day that, of course, I came to the Association of Devotees, and we know that Devotee Association means a lot of prasadam. A lot of prasadam. Ganganath Prabhu knows how I'm struggling when we travel and we visit. When we're in Sankirtan traveling and we visit some of our, Vaishnava that they invite us to take prasadam, he knows how I suffer with so much prasadam, that I have to tell, please don't give me more prasadam, please, I'm done, please. So one day, my parents, they went to Australia to visit one of my uncles, and so they called me, like FaceTime and so, and I was in the middle of going to, honor prasadam, and then I didn't eat in the whole day. That was in the evening, and I didn't eat in the whole day because I was very busy, and I don't remember. So I had a really big plate. Those who knows me know that I don't eat too much. I eat very little, but because I haven't eaten the whole day, I have a big plate with all things. 3 subjis, rice, sweet rice, and everything was together. The samosas, chutney, salad, so many sweets. Like a festival, Whoever sees Krishna sees a festival. Prabhupada writes in Krishna book. So I had this big plate full of prasadam, and then in this very moment, my parents called me, and they start talking to me, son, how are you, this and that, and I say, oh, everything is fine, this and that. And then Krishna knows he never forgets anything. He knows how to lower your ego. So I remember that, and then I say to my father, hey, Dad, do you remember that day, like 5 years ago, or I don't know, 4 years ago, when you told me that I will be suffering for want of food? Check it out. He was completely speechless. He was speechless. He didn't know what to say. And I told him, this is what happened when you take shelter of the Supreme Lord. He takes care of all your necessities. You see, you're always calling me because of, you're all very proud of all your achievements that my family, they're very proud of these. Like, some of my uncles are quite successful in the material world. They travel all over the world, and they have like big houses in Australia or in Europe, and they have some money, and they have a beautiful wife, like, Veronica or Brittany or whatever it is, I don't know. And they always very proud of these achievements. They're all the knowledge or the mystic, whatever little mystic perfection they have, but they are always asking me, what is so that even though you're not like pursuing the material success, or you're not trying to protect yourself too much from the onslaught of this world, why is so that you're always like so happy? And because to become happy nowadays is an anomaly, so you become happy and people don't like that. They say, what are you so happy for? They want you to be sad and upset like they are. So I just tell them, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I'll end the class right here. We have no more time. So if there's any comment or questions or... Yes, Ganganath Prabhu. Give us some nectar.
I was just thinking of this verse during your class. It comes in the 4th canto. Yad pada pankaja balasa vilasa bhaktyam karmashrayam ugrantitam ugrayanti shantan tadvan rikta matayo yatayo pirudhas Shotoganas Tarararam Bhajavasudeva. That for those who've attached themselves to the vilas of serving Krishna's lotus feet, the waves of material desires doesn't sweep them away from their previous karma. But those who are rikta matayo, their minds are empty because they're too obsessed with jnana, yoga, karma, whatever it may be, they easily get swept away. I was just thinking of this.
And Prabhupada loved that verse.
Yeah.
He quoted it many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also so many verses like this, Ye neighbor Vindakshas, and so many verses where the Bhagavatam is emphasizing that nothing is going to protect you except taking shelter of Krishna.
Yeah, what is that verse of Lord Brahma, the famous one? Samasrita ye pada pallava pravam mahat punya mahat padam punya jasho murare baham mudir badsa padam param padam yad vipadam natesham. So many padams are there in that, that verse. That in every step of this world there is danger. There will be danger if one cannot avoid it. There will be danger, but this great ocean of problems of material existence reduces of the water contained in a calf hoofprint by somebody who takes shelter of the Lord. So this is the conclusion of Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam shows and speaks about so many different processes, yoga, Sankhya, this and that, and shows so many personalities that have achieved perfection in those processes. But ultimately, if somebody remembers the Supreme Personality at the end of the life, Ante Narayana Smriti, that is, such a person becomes perfect. We recently we have the departure of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, my revered spiritual master, and we all saw how his life was so glorious. He left his body in complete Krishna consciousness. He was not a great mystic personality, like doing some magic and disappearing from this place and appearing in Calcutta or then somewhere. I remember last year when he came, he spent 15 hours on a plane, and his body was completely like emaciated, and he was suffering. The great souls don't suffer, but I'm saying that the body it was an austerity for him to do that, and he just came because to serve Srila Prabhupada, to say, Dasa Anudasa Bhavitashmi Bhuyaha. Actually, in this verse, Prabhupada writes in the beginning of the purport, he says, this is the sum and substance of Krishna consciousness. To become the servant of the servant. Not to become some like Jnani or some very learned personality. And like Padri Prabhu says, snorting in Sanskrit. So many Sanskrit verses, this and that. But no love for the Lord or no love for the devotee. So this is the real perfection of life. Okay, Hare Krishna. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vanchakalpa taruvya cha kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.